So this is add SMS and voice to your app with Twilio. I initially submitted Chatbot, but decided to make this more general. You will be able to make a chatbot with what you learn in this workshop. So let me know if you want to go over that as well. But you should have enough skills at the end of this workshop to make a chatbot or add SMS and voice to your apps. I'm Lizzie. I'm a developer evangelist at Twilio. Went to HackDavis as a mentor and sponsor 2 years ago when I was in person. Big fan. Thank you for coming. And I'm an iOS and web developer, but haven't done much iOS recently. Been doing more machine learning, so actually more Python. Anyways, okay, moving on. How do I, next slide. Okay, so what is Twilio? Twilio provides APIs for communication. So if you're building your app in Swift, JavaScript, Python, C#, C++, someone name another language. Did I say Java? JavaScript, Python. A lot of different programming languages. You're building an app in one of those languages and you want your app to be able to send and receive text messages, make and receive phone calls, video calls, have in-app or in-browser chat, send and receive emails, have two-factor authentication, and more. You could code that yourself, or you could use Twilio APIs to make your life easier. I think of them as like Legos. You can build with them on top of whatever you're building to add features to your app. So when someone sends, so first off, you buy a Twilio phone number, and that costs roughly $1 a month, depending on your country. But for the US, it's $1 a month for the most part. And I will buy a phone number soon, you can see. And because you came to HackDavis, you can use the promo code HackDavis20 to get $25 worth of credits. And that should last you like over a year, honestly, unless I once had this script running in the background overnight that sent like a lot of phone calls and I went through like over $1,000 worth. But that should not happen to you. So you should be good. So anyways, you buy a Twilio phone number and then you program it to do something. And when someone sends a text message to your Twilio number, Twilio makes an HTTP request to your application that you made in the programming language of your choosing. And then your app will respond using Twilio or Twiml or Twilio XML, the Twilio markup language that contains directions on what to do with an inbound message. And the same thing holds for a phone call. When someone calls your Twilio phone number, Twilio makes an HTTP request to your application, and then your app responds using Twiml, containing directions on what to do with the phone call. If you write your app in, say, Python, the code will generate Twiml in Python. We will see that soon. And feel free to send questions in the Zoom chat. Webhooks are user-defined HTTP callbacks. They're usually triggered by some event, such as receiving an SMS message or an incoming phone call. When that event occurs, Twilio makes an HTTP request, usually a post or a GET, to the URL configured for the webhook. In this case, it's probably a server that says what points at your application. So then your code would run and say, do this with the inbound message or phone call. The information it contains could be like a text message was sent to a Twilio phone number. And to handle a webhook, you only need to build a small web application that can accept HTTP requests. Okay. And in Python, you would probably use Django and Flask to handle HTTP requests. In JavaScript, you can use Express. And Twilio provides helper libraries for different languages that will generate something that will generate Twiml. Yeah. And this is what Twiml looks like. Would respond to a phone call saying, thanks for calling. Okay, now I'm going to go to my Twilio console and we're gonna buy a phone number. And this is what you will need to do to get started with Twilio. You can see I have a lot of phone numbers. I should return them so they're not in use and I stop spending $1 every month. Anyone have a preferred area code? Okay, I'm just gonna do 650, that's my area code. You can also search for like different letters if you want your number to contain like UCD or something. Okay, we have phone numbers in different places. Let's pick San Francisco. Gonna buy this phone number. And again, just use the promo code HackDavis20. And right now, our phone number is not configured with any webhook. So let's make our app and then open our app to the web. So you can text in and call in. I'm gonna show this for now. First off, we're going to make an outbound call in JavaScript. We have our account SID and auth token, which are unique to you. That's why I hide them with environment variables. Sometimes I hard code them as well, but I would not want to show you these. So because I'm screen sharing, use environment variables. Also use environment variables if you push to GitHub, because then someone could use all your Twilio credits. That just happened to me because I'm lazy. So you can be lazy sometimes, but be careful. Anyways, use your credentials, account SID and auth token, create client object requiring Twilio. So you'll need to npm install. And I'll go over the Python code of this as well. And I just picked JavaScript and Python because those tend to be the more common ones at hackathons. And then we call the calls.create method on our client object, and we pass it 3 parameters, twiml, which is the message we want to say. In this case, we also have to have response and say, because it is twiml, and those are twiml verbs. And then in between those are the message that we want to say. And then 2 is the number that we want to call. In this case, it's my phone number. Again, I have it hidden within an environment variable from, I'm going to replace this number. I actually was testing it on a different number. I'm going to copy and paste like all good programmers do. And from is from our Twilio phone number. Okay. I'm going to go down to the terminal and run outbound call. Just kidding, this is JavaScript. I was using JavaScript and Python. Okay, node outbound call.js. And I'm gonna get a phone call. And I'm getting called.
World.
And it said ahoy world. Let me know if you have any questions. And then we can also look at the Python version, which is pretty similar. Import OS to use the environment variables, import Twilio and client, create our account SID and auth token variables, pass those into our client objects, and then call calls.create on client using the same twiml to and from. And this from is for our Twilio number. 2 is to the phone number we want to call. It really is that easy to make an outbound call. I know. Okay. And this code is also in the Discord Twilio channel. I can drop it in the Zoom chat if you want. It is also on GitHub. Okay. Now, we are going to respond to some text messages. I'm gonna stop doing calls. Okay. Here, I'm gonna make this bigger. To respond to messages, it's slightly more complicated. We need to import in JavaScript HTTP to make our HTTP web server, import Express to handle HTTP requests, import body parser so we can parse an inbound message that is sent to our phone number, require Twilio, and create a messaging response object. Here we create our Express app. URL encoded. This has to do with parsing the inbound message. Post to our hack URL. And when someone texts in, we get the inbound message. And let's convert this to lowercase, actually. And JavaScript is trim, not strip. We get the message body. If the inbound message is matcha, let's say that is my favorite boba flavor as well. And else, you can do more if-else conditionals, but let's just do else. If you don't send matcha, we'll send else. We create our server and say we're listening on port 1337. So I'm going to save this file. Everything look good. Did I save? Node SMS response.js. Module not found. Oh, for some reason, sometimes I have to install things multiple times. And I'm like, this worked this morning. I'm just going to install Twilio again, just to be sure. Let's try running that again. And we see Express server listening on port 1337. And how can we open up this app to the web? How can we make it accessible? We can use a tool called ngrok, which opens up our local host to the web with a public-facing URL. Let's look at ngrok here. Public URLs. You can run it on different ports. This one's on 3000. Because our app is running on port 1337, I'll be using, you guessed it, 1337. Some people have trouble installing ngrok. Let me know if you run into any difficulties. Sometimes you save it to like a different location directory on your laptop and you have to move it. Anyways, I'm going to switch terminal tabs and run grok http 1337. 1337. Forgot the O. Okay. This gives us this public-facing URL. I'm going to copy it. And go back to our Twilio phone number. I'm going to say when a message comes in, replace this webhook and use hack. And then I'm going to save it. Now, if you get out your phone and text this number, text it your favorite boba flavor, you should get a response. Okay. And I did. That's what it looks like. And if you send it something else, like you should get else. No, I got an error. What was that? HTTP table. Reference error is not defined. That is weird. I'm going to try texting it again. Haha. I think I must have added something. Anyways, that's what happens when I type on a Zoom video. Okay. So if you wanted to text in, you should get a response again. Express is up and running. You can test it out yourself by texting the Twilio number. I'm gonna drop it in Zoom chat. Where's chat? I can't find Zoom chat. I swear I am Gen Z and I know how to use Zoom. Anyway, you can text this number if you want. And again, this would look pretty similar with Python. We import Flask because that is our framework for responding to HTTP requests in Python. Import Twilio, create a messaging response object, make a Flask object called app, route to /hack, which we tack on to our ngrok URL, which, as you saw here, was this one, that URL. And you can see like people texting in 200 OK. That's my favorite HTTP status code, 200. If it's not 200, I get stressed. How do I scroll? Okay. To get the inbound message in Python, it's request.form of capital B. Don't forget the capital B in body. I like to convert it to lowercase and strip for filling white space. Messaging response object. If the message is hi, we send hi back, else send not hi. And as you can see here, if it's else, we just send not hi, but you can also send images. I know, impressive, right? So let's stop a little bit of a, let's close out the node server and instead run the Python and Python 3, why not? SMS response.py. We see our app is running on port 5000. So we have to stop this ngrok command in our other terminal tab and run ngrok HTTP 5000. Oh, GG's, I got excited. We're gonna take this URL again because it is different. When you're on the free ngrok account, it's a different URL each time you run ngrok, an ngrok command. I'm gonna replace this. Save our number again. And if I text the number hi, I should get back an image of a dog. Okay. Oh yeah. I was like waiting to see my debugger light up in the red. See this bug symbol. Whenever it flashes red, it means like error. And I'm like, oh, no. But I sent hi and I got the dog. I send else. I get something else. Ooh, I see 7 notifications in the chat. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I was like, where's the chat? Okay. Oh, no, okay. I didn't want to share the chat, but you can see the chat anyways. Okay. You have someone to text now. Same. Sometimes if I don't want to give someone my phone number, I give them a Twilio number and you can set up text forwarding. So like it kind of like masks the phone number. So I know their number, but they don't know mine. And they don't know that I'm not actually texting from the Twilio phone number. I'm texting from my own phone number. And I can like delete the number and then they won't have my number. Okay. Any questions? I will share this code on Discord. Let me know what you're building. We have a lot of time left, so I was thinking if you have any questions or do you want to see something in particular with Twilio, that's just like the tip of the iceberg. We do have a lot of other products. I initially was going to give a workshop on something called Autopilot, which makes it really easy to build a bot with minimal code. Let's see now. Shell Hacks 2020 workshop. So this is a chatbot with different tasks. And instead of using if-else conditionals to say, if this message contains matcha or like a keyword, Autopilot, this product, uses machine learning on the back end. So you can say, you can add different samples to the bot. So I'm going to click on train for the greeting task. And it's like, hey, what can you do? Sup, yo, hi there. These are all synonyms, different ways of saying the same thing. So instead of saying, if someone sends hi, like, you don't need that with Autopilot. It will, the NLU backend is smart enough to say, if someone sends something that's similar to hi, it will trigger the greeting task. I'm going to go for a run later this evening, but I'll be back on. I'll probably be available until like midnight, 1 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Oh, okay. So yes, more on Autopilot. You can add different samples, and then the greeting task, if you send something like hi, it would trigger this greeting task that says, welcome to the most icy cantina, or whatever greeting message you want. So we can test this out in the simulator. Let's start over. I also hesitated. How about salutations? That's kind of an obscure hello. Oh, that went to fallback. Fine. Hey there. Okay, hey there triggered the greeting task. And its confidence score is 1. I did hesitate to do this workshop on Autopilot because it's like more minimal code. And it's, I guess, yeah. Once we run the script, are we getting charged? Do we need to shut down the phone number when we are done? Okay, so Twilio only charges you. Well, okay, the phone number is per month, regardless of if you use it or not. So it's $1 per month. And then you're charged for each text message sent or received, or every phone call made or received. But it's like 0.000 something per text message, and phone call is like 1 cent. I don't know, but it's like, it's by usage. Yes. If you don't want to be charged the $1 a month for a phone number you're not using, like, you can give the phone number back. What else? Video call is by the minute. Yes. Turn off auto recharge. Also, like when I was a student, I knew students who went to hackathons who never paid for Twilio. They would just like try to figure out what hackathons are happening this weekend, and they would kind of like guess the promo codes for that event. So like HackDavis 20, or they would like try to figure out the promo code. So they never paid for it. Also, if we change the script to recognize Thai tea instead of matcha, will it still recognize matcha, or will it only use the last script we ran? It will update to Thai tea. So if I change this to Thai tea, that's JavaScript, I would run this again. Basically, you would need to update your ngrok URL as well, but it would update to Thai tea. How much does you get Twilio credits by using the promo code HackDavis 20? And how to use Twilio promo code. This is how you use the promo code. Add funds, use promo code. How much does video calling cost? It's by the minute. Twilio video cost. I'm honestly not sure. Okay. Roughly 0.004 per participant per minute. This is a very good question. What separates Twilio from competitors in the market? We do have a few competitors. I'm not going to name them, but they have similar general products. Like they might have an SMS API, voice API, video. But Twilio offers a whole suite of products. So I showed you Autopilot, which lets you make a chatbot. You can make an SMS, voice, Slack, programmable chat, Alexa, Facebook Messenger bot once. You build the bot once, and then you can deploy it across these different communication channels. Twilio also offers a serverless toolkit that makes it easy for you to host your own or host an app. Like why should you run your own server when Twilio will do it for you? Serverless is pretty big. So I think if you want to use Twilio for some products that the competitor does not have, then it just makes it easy to use the Twilio products that also compete with the competitor, if that makes sense, because they integrate better. I'm also a big fan of our documentation. I go to a lot of conferences and people are like, oh, I love the Twilio docs. I do think they're kind of like more fun, prettier to look at than some others. There's a lot of code snippets. I'm a big fan of copying and pasting code. And like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think it's nice to copy and paste. And for the most part, let's look at Twilio send SMS. Why don't we look at this one? I have not used Java since sophomore year of college. Anyways, let's look at Java. I don't know, I feel pretty confident that I could install the Java helper library and copy and paste this into a file and it would work in like a few minutes. Although, something that I struggled with when I was a college student at hackathons trying to use Twilio was I did not understand ngrok. So I would try to copy and paste code, I would probably have done Node.js or Python at a hackathon. And I would try to, this is a bad example because it does not require ngrok to do an outbound message. But if you want to respond to an inbound message, you would need ngrok. And they did edit the docs at the time when I was struggling to understand ngrok. They did not mention it as much, but how it opens up your local app to the web so that your Twilio phone number knows to point at your app, if that makes sense. How else can I say that? You have your app and you need to tell the Twilio phone number to hit your app with an HTTP request so that you can send a message or parse out an inbound message. Yes. Another product I'm a fan of is the Twilio Functions. It's our serverless environment for hosting web apps. Let's look at what function. What was Athena hacks? Okay. So this is basically some of the code that we saw in JavaScript. We create a HTML messaging response variable. And if the event.body, capital B, is equal to matcha, you send a message, else you send a different message. We could go to our phone number, and instead of pointing at a webhook, with this, you would need to have ngrok open the whole time. You could point at a function, and we could say, where's Athena hacks? For some reason, it's not popping up, but we can also copy this path. Not function, webhook. Say Athena hacks, and then it should edit to a function, default Athena hacks. And then if you texted the number again, it would hit the serverless function. And that way you could close ngrok, you could close your laptop, you could walk away, and it would still run. So I'm gonna text matcha. And yep, that hit this Twilio function. So that is another product I like. Let me know if you have any questions about functions. It is only for JavaScript at the moment. Yes, like AWS Lambda. If you're looking for ideas for an app, this was an app I made with an IBM engineer. It's a chatbot, and then it performs text message analysis using IBM Watson. It tries to categorize the inbound message. So lots of fun. That is roughly all I have for the workshop. Let me know if you want to stay on and chat, talk about any of what you're working on. Is it possible to make a chatbot for phone call? Yes, it is. So for a phone call, I would recommend using Autopilot. So this is Autopilot. You can just take programmable voice, gives you a URL. You would copy that and paste it in your Twilio phone number for when a call comes in. And then someone would talk with the bot. You could say, hi, hello, get today's specials, make a reservation. Make a reservation would entail asking a series of questions and then collecting those answers. You could save them to a database. You could analyze them. Hand off. You could hand off to a human. So I would hand off to like myself and put in my own phone number if the person gets stuck. You could also not use Autopilot. You could use a different programming language. Let's see now. I will send you some tutorial links after. Is it possible to display a graph based on users' input? You mean like data visualization, like D3, C3, based on like, yes. Well, you would have to make the graph. You could get the user's input. You could analyze the words they used, the length of the phone call, or if it's a message, analyze the words in a message, sentiment analysis, and then make a chart of like, you could get the user input and then turn it into like more data, graph-friendly data to make a graph. Yes. You would have to send the visualization. So basically, Twilio just provides the SMS, like communication APIs or user or customer engagement products for you to build an app with. And then you would have to make the visualization yourself with a different library, with different tools. And then you could send an image maybe, or a link via text message to someone, or you could put it on, host it on maybe Netlify or something. But you yourself, as the developer, could see the visualization that you're building. Hope that helps. Yes, of course. Any other questions? If you have any questions, twill.io/hackathons. This website has some tips, tutorials by product, by language, videos, some cool hacks we've seen at hackathons before. That link might be broken. I was a fan of Moist Meter at MHAX 11. It used an Arduino, I think it was, I forget, to measure like moisture as sweat levels, and then based on the percent of like moisture, it would one, spray Axe body spray, and two, send a text message. So that was very silly, but it was fun, very unique. SM texts from MHAX 11, you could text a complicated LaTeX equation, and then it would send back a more like prettified version, like beautified version. It would clean it up. Health Hunt AR from TreeHacks 2019. This was like a game using AR on the iPhone to, I guess, help make being at a hospital fun for kids. They could collect these like rubies, diamonds, jewels. Very cute animations, good design. If you want to brainstorm ideas, let me know. I am here.
Yes, and if you use the Twilio API in your project this weekend, just make sure to include that on your dev post submission, because Twilio is giving away 4 HD webcams to the winners of the team which has the best use of the Twilio API. So keep an eye out for that, and yeah. A lot of applications of Twilio, since you can use SMS and calls in almost all areas. And Lizzie and I will be here if you guys need any help for the next 15 minutes or so. No, if you use the Twilio API in your project, make sure to choose the correct price category when you submit on the dev post. You don't actually need to post this link on the dev post. Just mention that you use the Twilio API, and then we'll judge that, and hopefully you win the prize.
Thank you. Last thing, we also are hosting a contest if you play Twilio Quest, twilio.com. /quest. It's like our online training video game. The people with the highest experience points at the end of the weekend, or the coolest nickname or avatar. I will mail you foam swords or a lightsaber. Take your pick. Yes, cute. It's a cute video game to learn Twilio products. Thank you.